Hi folks, you're with Tacitus today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this audio live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about something that's really gaining currency around the activist race gender hustling world and that, the globalist controlled funded world, which is emotionally true. It may be a lie, it may be devoid of all facts, it may be lie upon other lies, but that doesn't matter because in the vapors of the crazed imagination of the activist, the paid activist, what they're saying may not be true or accurate or factual, but it's emotionally true. In the fantasies of my mind, I want it to be true. Therefore, I can pretend like a child, playing in a sandpit. I can pretend it's true or say it's true. My infantilization is now complete. The activist sort of can say. So let's just have a little look at this. Now, I heard about this emotionally true thing a few years ago. I guess I first heard it. I was invited to a book launch, and the reason I went to the book launch was I knew some people would be there, but they were having it catered for by a chef of considerable renown. They were going to do the food, and it was lavishly, the wine and the food was good. It's a sumptuous affair, actually. And so I went along for that. It wasn't too far away from where I lived. So I turned up, and it turns out it was the prime. There was a couple of books actually were being sort of announced, but the primary book was about the rape experiences of 10 women. And they recounted in vivid detail these rapes, which were all by straight white males. Interestingly, they were evil, fascist Nazi Hitlers that were controlling. They were violent. They were brutal. They were cruel. They were fantastically bad. I don't know if any person in existence would be that bad. And that 10 women could from the same city could find all these different men that were equally as bad. In fact, the men were competing for badness. The women, meanwhile, were just manifestations of chastity and purity and beauty and good behavior and so on. Not a controlling bone in their bodies. But anyway, so there were 10 women, chaste little maidens, little waifs, raped by these huge brutish men. Now, the men were 2-3 times bigger than these women. How did these women end up with men that were so vastly bigger than they were? That just seems a bit odd. So anyway, the book, as it turns out, there was stuff doing around on the internet that debunked the book. They said it was all a load of bullshit. It was all a load of hogwash. And these were all just pure inventions by these women, and didn't question whether all these women actually existed. Now, that someone would decide to release a book like this, and it was an activist book publisher that was involved with it. And the reason I know how activist these guys were, I'd written a novel and had put it up to them, and it had been quite well received. The chief editor guy took me out for coffee, and we had a good chat and so on. And then they came back to me. It's almost like he handed it over to the activist sort of group within the publishing company. They came back to, provided I changed the because I had mentioned Christianity, and that had to come out. No mention, no positive mention of Christianity, and it was as an aside, as part of a subset of the story. It wasn't central at all. And I had to make the key character either gay or lesbian, and then they were happy to talk. Otherwise, they quite liked it, and I refused to do that, so they told me to fuck off. So same publisher, but anyway, so we're there, and this debunking stuff has already come out, and so saying that the whole thing's a fake, that these rapes didn't take place, that some of these women don't exist, it's all a pure fantasy, and so the publisher and the supposed author who was this screaming gender studies lefty changed their story. Said, well, look, it doesn't matter if it's not factually true. It doesn't even matter whether these rapes took place. It doesn't matter whether these women even exist, because The message of the book is emotionally true. It's emotionally true, and that's what matters. So and I thought, what the fuck does that mean? Emotionally true. It's not factual. It's not factual. End of story. Why would you be claiming that this woman existed and she was raped? Having all these details to find that it's whole thing's a fantasy. It's a fucking novel. It's a crazy, fantastic, self-indulgent bit of gender studies bullshit. That's all it is. Being dressed up as a factual account of women being raped, and of course, which it wasn't. But they were quite unrepentant. Not only the author, but particularly the publicity people there from the publishing company. They had an instant narrative. Well, look, it doesn't matter if it's not true whether these women existed or whether, because we know that all men are rapists and all women are victims. We already know that. That's the truth, and therefore, if we make up a few stories within that truth, then that doesn't make it untrue, because we know that all these people are Nazis, and we know that. So the facts don't really matter, because we know that all these people are bad, and we know that all women are victims, Now, that sort of struggle to get traction, and the publicity people sort of looking to see, is that bit of bullshit working? And I said, well, studies have shown that 99% of all women are being raped every day by all these men, and we know that the far right. We know that there was a case only a month ago where the guy that had swastikas on and that he was known to be a personal friend of Hitler. Well, Hitler's been dead for like fucking how many? It doesn't matter. He imagined he was a friend of Hitler, therefore he was, therefore he is Hitler, and therefore he's a rapist. And so they did these incredible jumps of logic, and it's insane. Am I talking to a fucking moron here? So they tried various sort of combinations, and congratulations on the acrobatics here, but combinations here. But they came back to this emotionally true thing. Now, more recently, I came across it again, used in pretty much the same way, but it's the argument that's being used. There's someone who's suffering most terrible racism, and only by white people. No one else other than white people, of course, does the racism. And it turns out it's all the whole lot is a fiction. It's all bullshit. And they again had these experiences written in a book by a race grifting, race hustling propagandist organization, funded by the likes of the Soroses and the United Nations and so on, and an obvious, contrived, choreographed race grift. And again, that was exposed as untrue. In fact, there's no factual basis at all in any of it. It's a Jussie Smollett thing, the noose around my neck, and this is mega country. And so in downtown Chicago at 2 a.m. Fuck. So this was the same sort of thing, and it was already. I mean, it looked very shady in my view, but they came again. They did this pirouette, saying, "Okay, so it's not true." But we all know that racism is everywhere. We all know that racism is a huge problem. We all know that fascist Nazis are everywhere. We all know that black people are oppressed by evil fascist Nazi Hitlers. We know that all of that is true. Okay, so we do a little bit of embellishment here and there, or we invent a few things, but it's emotionally true, and therefore it's all okay. Well, no, it's not. That attitude, just because, you look at the January 6th trials and the court cases around that same logic is used. Well, you are a white supremacist. You are a Trump supporter. You were within 1,000 miles of Washington, D.C. at the time. That makes you an insurrectionist. That makes you a fucking Nazi. Prison for you, motherfucker. And it's the same sort of the logic of, well, we know. Therefore, even though you didn't do it, who cares? Prison, and it's that same sort of, and it's crept into the legal system. Not crept, it's gone charging, galloping into the legal system, and we see it now being pushed by activists all over. You've been with Tassus today. You're a pushback gentleman. Thank you for listening.